Yeah, Jaeger's a really great character. Did you enjoy Jaeger?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. He's just like this like carefree, like devil-may-care guy who just goes in and out of people's lives, and he's just really sexy and charming.
I wouldn't describe him as carefree necessarily.
Well, I mean, he has a lot of weight on his shoulders.
He's a nomad, so he does not have those ties to any particular person, and we'll see more of that in the final story, Five Crazy Women. But he's also has a complex, difficult past too. We didn't probably talk enough at this point about Jaeger.
There's a lot to him. But throughout the volumes, you kind of get like glimpses of his past. Like there's not like a definitive like Jaeger story necessarily. You know what I mean? It's just like it keeps like building in his character with each story that's presented here.
There's one really kind of chapter or little sequence. I think it's like interlude within. It's in the first volume where they show his father and things like that. So we get a good chunk of it there. Yeah. And I think that was actually published originally much later in the run of comics, and she kind of went back and put it here closer to the beginning, I believe. But yeah, Jaeger is a complex, interesting character. He is, oh boy, Finder is such a complex word. The whole idea of these clans are very important in Finder. Yeah. And all of the different human clans strive for a kind of genetic unity. That's a common more within, I think, amongst all the human clans, at least that we've encountered so far. So people within each clan tend to have the same similar physical appearance. Yeah, they pretty much look alike. Yeah, Jaeger belongs to two clans. He's half Askian, but he also involves he's also part of another clan, so he's something of an outsider amongst his own people. And he is a finder, which puts him in a special class. And he is a sin eater, which is a whole other concept that we didn't even discuss. I mean, there's no way we can really get into all the different things going on in Finder. But pretty much he's an outsider to his clan. He's an outsider to his clan. But he's very valued because he has skills that they need. Yes. Yeah. Yes. But it's kind of like that, like no woman's going to want him because he has this taboo to him. And yet, he seems to do all right with the ladies. Yeah, he does all right on his own. So yeah, Jaeger is an absolutely fantastic character. And in the same way that I think a lot of straight male X-Men fans, like maybe like Kitty Pryde was their first girlfriend, I am sure that many female fans of Finder, of which another thing Finder is known for, huge female fan base, are particular fans of Jaeger. In fact, I've even heard there is an erotic work starring Jaeger that Carla Speed McNeil will be coming out with. So, he's, he draws good-looking men well, which is nice to see in comics because, a lot of, objectification of female bodies here. I would not say Jaeger is objectified, but, he's out there. He's letting it all hang out. All right, so the third story is The Rescuers. And in this we see a wealthy family's child is kidnapped, and Jaeger is, he like works there in the kitchen, and he's kind of like helping the local law enforcement, which he has an antagonist relationship. Yeah, very much so. He pretty much leads them to the baby's body. Because he's a finder. And they kind of goes into what Finder is a little bit more in this one, I feel like, with between him and what the policeman that he's talking to kind of discuss. But basically, he leads him to the body, and there's all kind of like complex issues for who did it, like, because Jaeger knows who did it, but he can't really say. He doesn't like to have the evidence. He's just a finder. Right. So there's like these complex like red tape there. Jaeger has a much more instinctual approach. Yeah. Like, investigating this crime, this baby has been kidnapped. It's kind of loosely based on the Lindbergh baby kidnapping. This is just who Jaeger is. This is what Jaeger does. So it comes very naturally to him. He's in contrast with the police, who are members of a different clan, and they, need to go through official channels, They need to work within laws. They can't, tainted evidence. They have to work within this rigid system of law that's been set up, which is appropriate. And Jaeger just doesn't work that way at all.
Yeah.
So even though they know that he knows who did it, they still have trouble working together to come to an equitable solution to this kidnapping.
Because Jaeger would just plant evidence and that would be it for him, but that's not how they played out.
Right. Well, Jaeger wouldn't even care about planting evidence. Yeah. He wouldn't care about evidence at all. He'd just be like, there's the baby, that's the guy who did it. Well, how do you know? It's like, I just know, I got my senses, I'm a tracker, I'm a finder. Go kill that guy or beat him up, and they're like, no, that's not going to work. So it was interesting. It was a good story.
Yeah. And meanwhile, there's some other things happening with a tribe that lives on the estate
of Askians, again, more of Jaeger's people.
And again, like the Sin Eater is a taboo, but there's also a taboo of a woman having giving birth to 2 babies at once.
Yes.
Twins.
So we have a kidnapped infant, and then from the Askian clan, the Askians, we have the birth of twins, a major taboo. So.
Yeah, and there's some interesting things going there with, the woman, needs to kind of get rid of a baby, but, they don't want to take this woman's baby, and so there's a lot of, cool stuff and
that's
parallels going on here.
Seems to be where the richest material in Finder comes from, which is contrasting the morals, values of these different cultures and see how they come up against each other. I think that seems to be when Finder is at its best, and that's on display on multiple levels in this volume.
Yeah. All right, and then the final story that this volume ends on is 5 Crazy Women, and pretty much this is Jaeger pretty much talking about some sexual exploits that he's had with women.
Yep.
And most notably, it's this woman who likes to take care of men who are ill. And I don't know, it's interesting.
This one is sort of
light and fluffy.
Yeah, sort of a farce. But a smartly written one, as everything in a Finder is. It probably wasn't my favorite in the run.
It's a minor.
It's probably the weakest of the stories, but it didn't really have the ambition of the other ones. Although we do find out a little bit more details about Jaeger here too, particularly the fact that he does become ill if he remains in one place for too long. And we also see a bit of a Wolverine kind of healing factor going on, which is kind of interesting. So yeah. 5 Crazy Women. Well, I definitely have things to say about. We could do a whole episode on each one of these.
You could take a class on this.
Yeah, that's a really. I mean, if we haven't emphasized enough, this is a really complex work. But I did have a few things I think I wanted to say about Dream Sequence, which again I think probably was my favorite in the series. I really like Dream Sequence because I feel like as I said, she had a bit more control over the themes that she was working with. So it is kind of first of all, I really liked it because it was a great mystery. You've got this mysterious character inside the virtual world of Elsewhere mutilating these people's avatars, and this character looks like a demonic version of Jaeger. So what's going on there? Who is this person? What does he have to do with Jaeger? So that was a really intriguing mystery. So that was well done. And I also thought that this Carla Speed McNeil commented on a lot of things in really interesting ways here. So I think there's a critique and a satire of corporate culture, obviously, with the company that's controlling Magri and, by extension, Elsewhere, and they're invested in monetizing that. There's that one scene where the new character Io is working in these kind of cubicles that go over people's heads, and it's just this line of people all with their heads in these cubicles, and it's it's just kind of like a real satire of corporate office culture. What else did I like about this book? I think it's also... Well, I know it's also because she said in the footnotes. Carla Speed McNeil's kind of comments on storytelling and world building, which is something she is certainly qualified to talk about. And because Elsewhere was created as an environment with no people. And Magri is interested in the environment and building this realistic environment as a kind of escape from interacting with other people. And I feel like this is kind of like Carla Speed McNeil's kind of perhaps critique, I mean, both of that behavior in the real world, because, you know, we escape into technology and, you know, to avoid whatever. But also of writers, perhaps particularly science fiction and fantasy writers, who become overwhelmed with the details of their world building and forget to put the focus on their characters. And that is something that Carla Speed McNeil has been very careful not to do. Her world building is complex, but as we said, the characters are in the foreground. If you want the details on this rich world that they're living in, they're there. It's a real environment. It's a real world she's created. But character is all people. Feelings are always first and foremost. And that's something that Magri doesn't understand because of these various traumas in his childhood. So I just thought with this sequence, she was really firing on all cylinders in the dream sequence story. So I wanted to make those points for sure.
All right.
Cool.
Do you have anything else to say about Finder?
Oh, yeah, but, you know...
Can't go on forever.
We can't go on forever. Just that, yeah, again, it's a really unique, interesting series.
And it's very beautiful, too.
Oh, yeah, we didn't really talk about her art very much. It's black and white artwork. I don't even know how I would really describe her drawing style. It looks similar to me to... maybe like a Terry Moore from Strangers in Paris, although I think she's a lot... her stuff is better than that.
Yeah.
And it becomes, like the writing in Finder, increasingly refined as it goes on, particularly in a lot of the compositions of pages she does. She's a master of human anatomy. It really, her skills are put to really great use here. A beautiful looking book. And I like comics like these. I love them. Even if I hadn't liked Finder as much as I did, I would like that Finder existed. You know, I like these comics that one person just does on their own. You know, and she just creates this great complex world and puts out these issues, and she's been doing it for years and years. And it finds an audience, and it's just... That's just one of the things that's great about comics, you know, that you can create this, like, entire world with a devoted fan following, Eisner Award-winning series, and just because you sat down and worked really hard in writing and drawing it. You know, that's it. That's the entry fee for comics, you know, and that's just kind of great. So take advantage of these new collections that Dark Horse has put out. It's absolutely fantastic. And then read Voice, which is the new one, which I think just won an award from the Young Adult Library Services or something like that for one of the best graphic novels for teens or something like that. I mean, Finder's a great series, you know. So I'm going to be reading that soon.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, that's Finder in a nutshell, so to speak.
All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Sorry it was a little bit of a delay before the last podcast. It took us a lot longer to get through this than we expected.
We had to read Finder. It took a while. But it was time well spent.
It was. All right, thank you, and we will see you next time.
Bye.